It is just a huge honor for me today to be sitting in my house with Amol Nirgudkar, who's a CPA. This guy has so many things he can talk about. I don't know how we're going to get this in for an hour, but we'll give it a shot. Amol Nirgudkar helps dentists grow their practices and reach their goals. He is in an unusual position to offer practical insights. As a certified public accountant, business consultant, author, entrepreneur, and owner of a dental practice, he has 19 years experience in working with dental practices, both large and small. Through the 3 companies he's founded, Amol has served more than 500 dentists across the United States. With Dentist Profit Systems, founded in 2013, he successfully challenged the common ways that dental practices marketed their practices online. Dentist Profit Systems also created new ways for dental practices to measure the effectiveness of their marketing investment. Through that work, Amol saw firsthand a growth challenge that all dental practices face. No matter how successful they market their practice, they lose many new patients because their front office is ineffective in handling phone inquiries. To help solve that problem, he founded Prism in 2015 as the world's first immersive call visualization platform. The software uses both machine learning and human learning to evaluate the way dental office handled phone calls in near real time. It has helped more than 100 dental offices convert more new patient calls into booked appointments. Amol co-invented 2 patent-pending technologies used in Patient Prism. He continues to work with artificial intelligence and machine learning to help dentists build commercially successful practices. He wrote and published a paper book called Profitable Niches in General Dentistry in 2014. He also authored and published an ebook titled 6 Secrets to More Patients and Higher Profits. Both are available through Amazon.com. In his spare time, Amol runs a quantitative hedge fund, manages a dental practice, and travels the country with his 12-year-old piano prodigy daughter to piano competitions. I don't know, I'm thinking that is one spoiled, rotten little 12-year-old girl to have daddy flying her around the country to piano recitals. Would you say she's spoiled completely rotten at this point?
She is well-deservedly spoiled.
She's nice foot, Dad.
She is. She works hard, and she's an amazing pianist, and I support that.
Well, I'm so glad to have you on the show. We met at Mark Cooper's DSO convention. What was that called? The Mastery Summit?
The Mastery Company, the Summit.
The Summit.
The Summit in Phoenix right here.
And the reason I went to that, big fan of Mark Cooper, he's one of the few people on 800 shows that we brought him on twice, because it's my belief that DSOs just make better business decisions. I mean, because, McDonald's showed the whole world. And did you see that movie, The Founder?
Yes.
That was such a great show because, it was basically, it changed all of America, because in America, every hamburger place, Mom and Dad owned it. They went to work all day, and at the end of the day, they were exhausted and went home. So they just worked all day, every day inside their business. And then a franchise came along and said, we're going to have a management team that's not going to do hamburgers, fillings, crowns, root canals all day. We're just going to work on the business of delivering hamburgers. And wherever McDonald's went, they slaughtered mom and pop. I mean, I think... Ray Kroc, how many McDonald's are they up to now? 40,000 locations.
Over how many billions served? I don't even know.
And
billions and billions.
And that's why I also don't believe in patents. Like, I won't sign an NDA. People always want me to sign an NDA. It's like, I don't play with lawyers. I mean, go to McDonald's. They're on a major intersection. They serve hamburgers, fries, and Cokes. They have a drive-through.
Absolutely.
Where's the patent? Where's the rocket science? It's execution. And you cover so many of my pet peeve projects. I'm trying to be a leader in dentistry. And I know my homies, because I am a homie. I love dentistry. I'd rather pull your wisdom teeth than play golf with you any day of the week. I mean, I just love... I love it when someone comes in, broke tooth, in pain. I can fix that. But where I need to lead them to is they don't know their numbers. And you've ran a dental CPA. I mean, you've had a CPA firm for... How many years have you had your CPA firm?
I've been a partner at Reliance for 14 years.
And it's called Reliance
Consulting LLC. It's based out of
Reliance Consulting LLC out of Tampa.
Out of Tampa.
And you've had, 500 dentist clients?
500 dentist clients.
For how many years?
Over 15 years now.
15 years you've been doing the numbers on 500 dentists. I wish someday you would write us an article on Dental Town of just benchmarking numbers.
Absolutely.
I know that growing your CPA firm isn't your passion right now, but my homies, they never know their numbers.
Absolutely. And knowing what to measure is so important and critical, right? Most of business owners that I have dealt with over the years, whether it's dentists or other guys, sometimes they get stuck in their way of doing things, and just that's the way they do it. And if they don't know what to measure, it's not sometimes the bottom line. And sometimes you have to look at internally, and you have to make sense of those numbers. You can't just look at lab fees and say, okay, they should be this much. You have to look at what are you getting for that, and is it convenient for you? The discussions I have with my dentist clients is, should I own a CEREC or not, and should I get a CBCT or not? And that's how detailed we get into with our clients, because if you don't understand the business as a CPA, it's not just about the numbers, it's how do you make sense of it? How do you make sense of the numbers? Yesterday I had a client, a dentist client of mine, they do 600 crowns a year, and we were talking about this whole CEREC, and should they invest or not invest? And again, they're back into thinking about 10 years ago when it used to take a lot of time and commitment, and we said, we need to sit down and figure out, it's not just about the number, it's also about delivering better care to your patients. And that's the conversations we have with our dentist clients.
And what's that website?
CPA.com.
RelianceCPA.com. Well, you can't say all that without answering those questions because they're coming out of school $350,000. Now, what's your view on? Start with Sarah, chairside milling for $150,000, because they all say, well, if I buy that. Let's say here's what Sarona is going to say. Dentsply Sirona. They're going to say, okay, it's $150,000. What would the monthly payment on that be approximately?
If you do it $150,000, maybe $700-800 a month.
$700-800 a month. They're going to say, well, you'll have $800 less lab bill. So it
would be a lease, which means you would have to buy it. It would be structured in the way that it's a lease for 5 years, then you'll have to buy it at whatever fair market value is. It's not for everyone, I believe. I think if you're coming out of school directly, I think you have a couple of choices. I spoke to a dentist yesterday. A periodontist came out, wants to start his own practice, and I encouraged them. I said, absolutely, it's not something that you should shy away from. The DSO route is a good route. Over the past 5 years, I feel DSOs have really improved their game significantly. They're managing practices better. Patients are being served better. There's a lot of the bad players that are out there. They're going or going away, and I think the good players are rising to the top. The ADSO is doing. Who do
you think of the bad players just in pair, or who do you think of the good players?
I wouldn't want to name the bad guys, but
this is Dentistry Uncensored, man. Throw them under a bus.
No, I would. The good guys.
Who are the good guys floating to the top?
I think Pacific is doing a phenomenal job.
Steve Thorne at Pacific.
Smile Brands is doing a wonderful job. There's a DSO out in Wisconsin. It's a client of ours. It's Dental Associates. Really wonderful job.
What's his name?
Dental Associates. Sage is great. Sage is doing a good job in down in South Florida with Joe Garcia. Is doing a fantastic job. There's a lot of good guys out there that are truly wanting to improve dentistry and truly wanting to deliver better patient care to their patients, and not just reducing cost, but also enhancing quality of care. And that's why I feel they are in need of good metrics to improve their practices, and they need visibility in all different aspects. How's my scheduling doing? How's my hygiene doing? How's my front office doing?
But as a CPA, does it seem bizarre to you that in every other industry, the accounting would be tied into the software, the practice management software? Does it seem bizarre to you that the data for the schedule, the incoming phone calls, isn't connected to the payables, the receivables, the statement of income, the statement of cash flow, the balance sheet?
Traditionally, the CPA role in an accounting firm has always been a compliance role, which means we're going to just do the books to prepare them to file your tax returns.
So that's just tax accounting.
That's just tax accounting.
It's not managerial accounting.
It's not managerial accounting at all. And so I think CPAs, dentists who are out there, they need to work with CPAs that understand not just the tax aspects of it, but the business aspects.
And I've told you that and I've told my homies on the show several times that they try to do the right decision. Like they'll come out of school and they'll go ask their pastor. I want a trusted accountant, and he'll say, Joe's, he's a deacon on the church board, so you think you're making the right decision. And that guy, you're his only dentist, and the other clients are wheat farmers and dairy farmers and own dry cleaners, and you need a CPA that's specialized in dentistry, just like your wife does. She does obstetrics.
She does high-risk pregnancies.
What would you think if someone had a high-risk pregnancy that they went to me as a dentist to deliver their baby? How good of an idea would that be?
It would not be a good idea.
So why would you go
But here's
to a CPA that does 100 obstetrics and no dentist? It just...
I have an answer to that. The answer is, very often today, likability and competence is very easily confused. You know, just because you like somebody doesn't mean they're competent.
That's how everybody refers to their doctor. I've watched it my whole life. Oh, you should go to my doctor. She's amazing. And I'll go, well, is she board certified? I don't know. What school did she go to? I don't know. Do you know anything about her? She's amazing. I love her. It's likability.
And somebody at your church, wonderful guy, fantastic. Do you need to buy insurance from them? Probably not, right? Because they don't know. How do you know they know what your needs are? Just because somebody goes to your place of worship. And they might be wonderful to be as friends, but do you need to do business with them? And a lot of times, this is the problem with small businesses that I've seen. We serve over 1,000 small businesses, 500 dentists, but other businesses as well. Most of them have...
dentist your main business? I mean,
dentist is my main
business.
business.
It has to be, because that's half.
It's pretty much.
And what's the mix of the other half?
So we do real estate, investors, big private equity funds. We do franchises like Subways and not McDonald's. We do pharmacies. So there's a lot of smorgasbord of clients we do. And the biggest challenge I feel that small businesses face is decision making. Everybody wants to buy a quick product. They want to fix something by buying something. And decision making is only influenced by their coterie of people that are around them. And sometimes that's not enough. Sometimes you need an objective, somebody outsider that tells you, hey, you don't need to buy that $2 million house for asset protection or tax reasons. You don't need to buy the cone beam CT to fix your problems in hygiene, right? You don't need to buy a big SUV to save you money on taxes. Somebody needs to say, because a lot of these decisions come from the gut for most of these business owners, and gut sometimes is not the best teacher.
Well, I'm an expert on gut because mine's 3 times bigger than yours. In fact, maybe your wife could help me. There might be a baby in here. I might be a high-risk pregnant. But, you know, I think dentists it's the same rodeo as a congressman or a senator. They go to Washington, D.C., and they don't feel like they've done anything unless they passed a big bill that costs billions of dollars. And I think it's the human condition where you walk in your house and say, well, I want to be successful. So if I buy something big, like a chairside milling or a CB, if I just spend a shitload of money, doesn't that show that I'm serious and it'll make me feel good? And it's got to be a good decision because I committed $100,000.
And it's not just dentists, it's all business owners. I mean, Jim Collins, in his book, great book, Good to Great, one of the best business books ever written, talks about the need for business owners to find a silver bullet. Everybody wants that one silver bullet to find. Okay, if I do this, then everything will be fixed, right? If I buy that cone beam, that's it, it's going to fix it. If I spend $10,000 attending this course, it's going to fix it all. And you can't buy yourself out of a problem. Usually, another Jim Collins quote is, success is a marathon, it's not a sprint. So you got to do the right things. It's a 20-mile march, he calls it. But you got to do the right things, maybe different ways, and eventually you'll succeed. But there's no one way. There's nothing that you can do one thing. And there's many, right? In dentistry, you got to look at 5, 6 things. There's dental consultants out there that'll tell you got to look at front office conversions, you got to look at scheduling, you got to look at your hygiene. And what I have learned from working with all these dentists is some of them have incredible business acumen, and some of them are incredible dentists too. And when that gets combined, it's magical.
Right.
Dentistry is a phenomenal field. The technology has surpassed. I mean, technology is allowing dentists to do so much more than they used to do. I'm preaching to the choir. Excuse me if I'm overstepping, but now you can do mouth guards very easily for your football teams across the school football teams. You can do so much, and as I make such a big impact. The oral saliva testing, the oral cancer stuff, and the whole oral systemic movement at the forefront of healthcare. And I think there's tremendous opportunity.
Well, you wrote a book, Profitable Niches in General Dentistry, and you've seen the accounting books for 500 dentists for almost 2 decades.
Yeah.
Any low-hanging fruit lessons that you could share from that kind of knowledge?
I think the idea for writing a book is for general dentists to get into niche areas that might be suitable for the demographic that they serve. If you are in a older demographic like Sun City Center or Sarasota or Naples in Florida, then you may want to think about going about and getting an implant certification and start placing something.
You know, my niche would be down there in Sarasota.
Yes.
I want to find an 80-year-old woman who's worth $100 million.
That's right.
Just marry her.
That would be a good niche.
Do you have any leads I can follow?
There's
up
plenty
on?
of them. There's
Really?
plenty
Well,
of them.
You find one.
There's
I want
plenty
one.
of them.
I want the oldest one you can find.
But that's it. So my idea with was you got to figure out what the low hanging fruit is. I mean, if you're in a bunch of millennials town where you have to be able to offer some sort of ortho. Some sort of clear brace options. And that's what I have been telling Dennis, is that you got to look at what is it that your demographic wants. And one of the things I was able to do with my marketing company is able to reverse engineer some of the content strategy from Google and harnessing the Google algorithms and say, okay, what do my customers in my area want? Are they searching for dental implants? Are they searching for Invisalign? Are they searching for mouth guards, sleep apnea, whatever it is? And if you understand your community better, if you understand the 5 to 10 mile radius around your office better, and then see where you're deficient in terms of offering your services. If you are in a neighborhood of 40 to 50-year-olds and they have young children and they're all and you don't offer any kind of orthodontic treatment as a general practice, especially with any of the clear brace options, you're losing out. You're losing out. So that was the point of my book, is you have to look at areas where you practice. You got to look at what you offer, and if you are going to be good at that, obviously, as again I bring Jim Collins a lot, you got to be a hedgehog. What are you best in the world at? What are you most passionate about? And if you can figure that out, and what drives your economic engine, then you become that hedgehog. If you're expert, if you love to do root canals, great, go do them. Be the best in the world at them, and you can market them that way. Marketing root canals is hard, but anything else. So that was the point of the book, is to figuring out the niches that are coming about. Whether it's oral saliva testing, whether it's sleep appliances, whether it's orthodontic clear aligners, whether it's implants. And not everybody was going to do everything, but if you like surgery and if you have an aptitude for that, by all means you should go about and get certified and start doing it, because it's the need of the hour. Implant is becoming the need of the hour. That is the preferred way to deal with missing teeth, and that's the lectures I was giving these guys.
When you're working with 500 dentists doing your CPA numbers, if some kid was coming out of school and said, what practice management information system do you like? Do you like any of them more than others?
I don't recommend practice management systems. The only thing I tell people is be aware of bells and whistles. Be aware of shiny objects anywhere you go. So we love, as humans, we love judging book by its covers. And just because something looks nice, something has all those nice reports and this and that, has 500 reports, does it mean are you going to use it, right? So any system that gives you the benefits are more than the cost, I would recommend it, whether it's Dentrix or EagleSoft or Open or whatever that might be, that serves your purposes. Don't buy something just because it looks cool, just because you like the rep, or they took you out to drinks. That doesn't matter. What matters is, are you going to be able to use the data?
Every dental office consultant I say, when they go into any dental office, you can go to a report generator and see what you've used.
Absolutely.
85% of all the bells and whistles have never been used one single time. And it's so funny. I can personally name dentists in this town who switched from like Dentrix or EagleSoft to the other one,
right,
because they wanted this feature, and we're like, dude, that they both have the same feature.
Just use it.
So, they're switching. They're switching for a new bell and whistle, and they don't even know their own computer has that bell and whistle.
The one thing to answer you quickly was, I tell my dentists is that figure out what you want to measure on a daily, weekly, monthly basis. make sure you make those reports automatic, that somebody hands them to you so that you can see how the health of your practice is doing. That's it. You don't need fancy bells and whistles. You don't need, there's lots of jargon out there, in the cloud, not on the cloud, in the ground. All this stuff, you don't need jargon. You just need good information at your fingertips to make the decisions timely so that problems don't grow over a period of time and you can fix them before they get bigger. That's it. And that's half the battle in most of these businesses.
So so now your new passion is one of the most interesting parts of dentistry, and that is, the dentist has 8 years of training. I have 9 years of college. There's a lot of specialists that have 12, 13 years of college to do what they do. And what's amazing with that is after 8, 9, 10, 12 years of college to be a dentist, the only successful dentists are the ones that do like 100 hours of CE a year. Yet now the government's best idea is to introduce dental therapists who have half the training. It's like, could you imagine going into your wife's high-risk OBGYN and someone's, you know what, we think the nurses now should start delivering the babies. It's like, your wife, how many years of college did your wife go to do high-risk obstetrics?
So
undergrad, med school.
5 years of med school, 4 years of residency, 3 years of fellowship.
Plus 4 years undergrad.
Yes.
So how many years all that?
That's 15, right? I mean, almost. No, she went to.
She went to 4 years undergrad.
She went direct to medical school. She was smart. So she went to
out of high school.
Out of high school, right?
Are you serious?
Yeah, she's a smart girl.
Oh my gosh!
So 5 years of direct medical school, no undergrad.
5 years MD.
4 years of residency in OBGYN.
OBGYN.
And then 3 years of fellowship in maternal fetal medicine. So 5 plus 4 plus 3. That's 12 years.
Okay, and how many hours of CE or do you think she does a year?
I think she does about 100, but she's required only 40, but she does 100.
And she's required 40, does 100. So what would she think if Florida said she practiced down in Tampa?
She practiced down in Tampa.
In Tampa, and what would she think if she said, "Well, the government thinks that now we should have mid-level providers and have nurses start delivering babies"? What would she think of that?
She would tell me this one thing. She always tells me, she said, education didn't really teach me what to do. It tells me what I don't know. Education really frees you up, and it tells you that, hey, you need to be aware and you need to look up something when you don't know it. And that's what it does. It makes her better as a professional because she knows that she doesn't know everything.
And then these organizations, these big government organizations, I don't want to mention any by name, like the Pew Trust, where they're like, they want to take these mid-level providers and put them in underserved areas. It's like, well, you know what? You got a bunch of kids here with $500,000 of student loans. Why don't you go work on the schools being half the cost?
Right.
Why don't you go offer 100 of those kids? We'll pay off your $500,000 of student loans if you go out. And their answer is they don't want to do any of that.
Right.
They want to take someone with half the training and send that area. And I'm like, dude, even when you're a dentist, I mean, when you get out of dental kindergarten, you barely know your butt from second base, and it's a lifetime journey. I mean, would you want to send your kid to a dentist with half the training?
I would not.
It's like I think they just want to. The problem is the schools are too expensive. The kids have too much debt. It's not the solution to send someone in there with half the training. Put your money where your mouth is. But the point the segue I was leading into is the hygienist has got 4 years of college.
Right.
She's like a registered nurse in any hospital. The front desk, no training.
No training.
And this dentist, I love him. She wants to do the best root canal in the world, but when she's back there doing a root canal for an hour, she would know if UFOs were calling her front office.
That's right.
She would know if drug dealers were buying drugs at her front desk. And when she's done with that root canal, I'll say, how many incoming calls happened during the last hour? No idea. How many went to voicemail? No idea. And then when I tell her, it takes 10 people land on your website before your horrible website converts one to call.
That's right.
3 people have to call before your untrained receptionist can convert one to come in.
That's correct.
And then 3 people have to come in with just a cavity
right.
before you can convert one to pay you money
That's
to
correct.
fix the one cavity. And then 2 of them don't get their cavity fixed. And then your best idea is to go take another course on how to do cavities better?
That's correct.
God dang, to do a cavity, 3 had to come in with a cavity, which means 9 had to call, which means 90 had to land on your website. Why don't you fix some of that? In fact, my biggest joke in dentistry is when they're taking courses on how to do fillings, I say, you know what? Why don't we just agree to remove all the decay and pack them with butter? Because that would be better than just treating 1 out of 3 cavities. Because 2 out of 3 people, I mean, imagine if the fire department let 2 out of 3 fires burn to the ground.
Absolutely.
Would you say, well, you need a new fire truck, or you need a new course on fire putting out? No, dude, you don't show up at 2 out of 3 fires. That's your problem. I don't care. That's your only problem.
It is the biggest thing in dentistry and other businesses is you just don't know what is wrong. What is really wrong in the stuff? If you look at the marketing funnel, patients, 65-70% of new searches for new dentists happen online today, right? And most of them are happening on your mobile phone. They find you. Hopefully you have a unique experience on mobile or website that promotes them to actually call your office. Then when you call the office, you have to convert them. Maybe it's a 1 in 3 chance that you ask the right questions, express the right empathy, don't put them on hold, don't have attitude, don't be racist. I mean, I've seen some calls. You would be amused by them.
I'm amused by my. I mean, I have amazing ladies been answering my phone for decades.
Sure.
And we record their phone calls, and I mean, we're talking about some of the smartest, classiest, most amazing women in the world. Will still say some of the craziest things in the world.
And it's just human nature. I mean,
It's human nature that all humans are crazy monkeys with clothes on.
We are to an extent.
But back earlier you said your CPA firm, 500 were dentists, and then other ones you said Subway.
Yeah, real estate, Subway, yeah.
Yeah. I know a kid who just got a job at Subway, and before his first day, he had to go home on his own computer, log on and watch instructional videos and pass the questions. It took him 8 hours to watch instructional videos before he could work on his first day. And I'm like, God dang, if you would have got a job at a dental office, you would have had 0 training. And you would have showed up the first day and they'd say, hey, can I get you? Here's your training, bottle of water. If you need anything, we got a break room in the back. We got some muffins back there. Why is it that Subway trains 16-year-olds better on how to make a turkey sandwich than dental offices train a receptionist to field an incoming sales call asking questions as complicated about dental implants and root canals and
I think in the healthcare business, whether it's dentists or physicians, they feel that clinical skill, all it's required to be successful is you have the right clinical skills, and everything else is not as important. And sales is not, and selling sometimes they feel is a bad word. That you're selling something to a patient that they potentially don't need. Most of America has a perception that the dentist wants to sell them treatment that they don't need. So somehow there is this, there's some guilt on part of a dentist to not have a great receptionist answer these phone calls. But some of them is just that, hey, it doesn't matter. I'm a good dentist. I've taken training. I've done Spear, Pankey, Dawson. I've done everything, and I'm the best guy. I'm going to figure this out. So all we need somebody is to answer the phones at the front and book the appointments. That's the mentality. And I'm going to spend only $12 an hour. I'm going to spend the least amount of money that I can because it's a dumb job. And here you are having somebody who's answering the phone potentially could be selling $40,000 patient. And your answer, this lady puts the patient on hold, then has an attitude, then forgets to mention care credit or any other financing options, which is one of the biggest reasons why people don't book. And then there it is. You've lost that opportunity because you felt that you don't need a salesperson right at the front doing a good enough job that's in the best interest of both the practice and the patient. Right? You don't think that's important. A lot of dentists just don't feel, and because they don't go through business school, they don't go, and a lot of business, I was a business major. I had 3 majors, accounting, economics, and finance. And I have a master's in accounting. We don't go through the school of real world where we understand the importance of customer service. When Howard Schultz introduced, when Starbucks introduced, and let me segue a little bit, when they introduced food in Starbucks chains all over the world, one of the problems that occurred, they realized that the same store sales went down as a result of introducing food. The opposite was expected, right? What they realize is, and this was Howard's genius.
Howard's a genius.
Howard's a genius.
When's the last time you met a Howard that wasn't a genius?
And
Howard
what,
the Duck.
What he said is that the smell of the food was interfering with the smell of the coffee, and it was interfering with the experience that a Starbucks customer had when they entered it. And number one rule that Howard created when he created Starbucks is as soon as they enter, they should smell coffee. Now if they start smelling sandwiches, it interfered with the process, and that's why the store sales decreased. Eventually, they figured out to get the cheese was burning at low temperatures, so they figured out to get a substitute of new cheese that would burn at higher temperatures, whereby it would not interfere with the smell of the coffee. And they got back on track. It's all about the customer experience. The Starbucks is charging $9 for a frappuccino.
Can I just interrupt one thing on that?
Sure.
Every Kroger, which is the third largest distributor, it's Walmart, Costco, Kroger, then Amazon. Kroger says that their grocery stores, when they take out the bakery, their sales go down. That when your wife walks into the grocery store and she smells things cooking, she starts salivating, she goes into food mode, she buys more stuff. The only other variable as important to that is the size of the cart. When they go into their stores and take a 10 cubic foot cart and place it with a 15 cubic foot cart, the sales go up proportionally. So think about all that I just said.
Yeah.
Walk into a dental office, what's it smell like?
A dental office.
Oh my God,
That's
guys!
right.
I mean, part of that whole fear and grossness of a dental office is smell related.
It's smell
and
related.
Starbucks focuses on that. Kroger focuses on that. And I walk into my own dental office sometimes. I'm like, good God,
Right.
And I can crack the door open in a beautiful winter when it's 70 degrees and blue skies. But when it's 118 outside and you got 4 1-ton air conditioners cranking, so.
Simple.
And then if I said to a dentist, well, you should think about aromatherapy,
Yeah.
he'd think I was a quack.
And
But
I tell
Howard
him-
Schultz doesn't
yeah,
think aromatherapy is a crack.
I've told. Steve Wynn spends $1 million a day at Bellagio to produce good aromas when you enter Bellagio in Las Vegas. Right? There is a reason. The company is Scent Air, by the way. They provide to all the Vegas casinos. And one of my dental offices that we did marketing for, they said we want our office to smell like the Cosmopolitan Hotel in Vegas. It's a wonderful hotel with the big chandelier bar, and they got the same scent. And it's amazing how I was sitting in that dental office in the chairs, and I literally heard 5 patients within an hour saying that, my God, this smells nice here.
And what is the first impression? You're talking about a smell. That's when you come into the office. So someone's already converted you to come into the office.
Right.
2 out of 3 didn't even get converted. What is the absolute first impression? It ain't smell.
Right.
It is who's answered that phone call.
Absolutely.
It is the most important person. And I got to ask you on your CPA experience again. In most company, who's the highest paid, besides the owner and the CEO? Who's the highest paid people? Sales or manufacturing, installation? Yeah. So in any other business, if you're the dentist, so you think you're all that in a bag of chips because you're the actual guy doing the filling.
Absolutely.
But if you were the guy installing the air conditioner on the assembly line, making whatever it is you make, would you make more or less money than the person out there selling it? The salesperson.
The salespeople should make the most amount of money.
Almost every 6-figure income job in America is the salesperson of the company. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely.
Oh my God. You go to any small business from coast to coast, and you walk in there and take out the owner who's making bank.
Right.
Who's the next highest paid person in this organization? Oh, it's Henry. He sold $1 million. He's got a plaque, $1 million seller. Right. And then here's the guy, well, I was $1 million seller 2 years ago. Then you go out into the factory floor. That's the middle wage people. Right. And in dentistry, the person out there selling is named after a piece of furniture. Oh, you're the front desk lady. Go get them.
That's right.
No training, and no videos. Go get them.
You're the least
paid.
Here's
your $12, baby.
That's it.
Go sell some dentistry.
You're the least paid.
And it's the most important.
And it's the most.
And you tell a dentist that, they go, "What do you mean they're the most important?" I'm the most important.
Right.
I'm the doctor.
It is.
She's a piece of furniture.
And I think, but as solo dentists all across the country wake up to the reality of DSOs intruding in their market share, they're going to realize. I think that understanding it's a team effort, understanding that we have to have all components of the dental practice work, and it's not going to be good enough anymore to just have a group of patients just refer you, and your referral business will continue in perpetuity, and you'll retire on that. It's no good. You have to have steady stream of new patients that are booking.
Well, I would say this. I would say that when my office turns 30 years old September 21st. I know I look like I'm 24, but I'm actually 54. And when you got out 30 years ago, it was a hell of a lot easier. These kids get out $500,000 in debt. Demographics matter. Answering the phone matter. They can't make as many dumb mistakes as you could 30 years ago.
Absolutely.
30 years ago, you could be the dumbest guy in the class and do well. Today, with corporate dentistry and increased student loan debt, and the fact that they've added another half dozen dental schools,
right.
you need to be. It's raising the competitive level. You got to be more competitive. So that's mostly your passive now. So my homies go to patientprism.com.
Patientprism.com.
What are they going to find at patientprism.com?
What they're going to find is a very unique system that not just looks at your front office and analyzes in real time, right? So here's a conversation between 9:30. A patient calls in and has 2 broken teeth, so needs extractions. Potentially would need the bridge or an implant. Are you receptionist, Michelle, let's say, or Mark? They answer the phone call at 9:30 in the morning. Somehow they answer the phone. Can you hold, please? So Mark's on hold for 30 seconds. Then they get back and they ask, and the receptionist forgets to answer. Ask Mark's name. Conversation goes on. How much does it cost? Oh, between $5,000 and $10,000 for an implant. Per implant, it's $5,000. And the conversation goes in a way that by the end of the conversation, the patient has not been asked some of the basic things like, are you any discomfort, right? First of all, have I asked your name first? And let's say 9:35, the call is over. What Patient Prism does is within 1 hour, it sends the dentist and the office manager an alert and shows a visualization of what went wrong in that call. You know what? At 30-second mark, you should have asked for the patient's name. You should have asked if they were discomfort. You should have built a report. Now we're going deep into conversations that are happening between the front office and the patient, and telling you in a color-coded way what we've developed called CallViz, which is our first patent pending technology.
What's your first patent pending?
It's called CallViz.
Call visualization.
The call visualization.
Call viz. You call it VIZ.
VIZ.
Call viz. Call visualization.
So what it does, it looks at a call, and now instead of having to listen to the entire phone conversation, now you can look at a color-coded annotation of where the ball got dropped, where our receptionist did a really good job. They had a great greeting. Okay, we're going to give you a pat on the back for that. Now within 10 seconds of that, you're going to know what I did wrong, what I did right, what I should have done, right? And you're going to have on the bottom of that calls, you're going to have some training videos associated with the specific failure that happened in that call. So for example, if you didn't know how to triage a extraction patient, because an extraction patient obviously could be a bridge candidate, could be an implant candidate. And if you didn't know how to do that, you're going to have a small video that tells you how to handle implant opportunities in the future.
Now, is this being monitored by live humans or artificial intelligence?
So artificial intelligence, as cool as it sounds, it's not there yet. What we use artificial intelligence for is understanding when a call comes in, it's a new patient or an existing patient or a general call, which is a lab calling for whatever, or somebody calling for directions. And artificial intelligence also feeds into our second patent pending technology, which is called the CallViz Keyword Cloud. And that keyword cloud basically looks at what are my patients asking for? What are they asking for? Are they asking for crowns, bridges, implants? Are they asking for Zoom teeth whitening? And now I'm able to monitor those conversations and those keywords and then correlate that back to whether I booked them or not. So, for example, I could go back in the month of June for a particular practice and say, okay, 19 patients last month called for dental implants. 19 patients spoke the word implant, that they needed implant. If I click on 19, I can go back and see all my 19 calls and see whether they were booked or not booked. So now I have such great visibility into what's happening in the front and whether these patients are booking or not, that instantly, one of the things, my favorite mantras of Silicon Valley has been, if you can figure out a way to fail fast, and fail often, you can actually get back on your feet and actually succeed quickly. So now, within 45 minutes, you understand. Now you're in an operatory, you're doing your root canal or you're doing your crown, and you come out, you get a text message, you see the visualization. Oh my God, we lost a $30,000 case or a $10,000 case. Why is that? Okay, here's the reasons why, and boom, we have you calling. We have somebody in the office calling that patient back, saying, "Sir, you called us at 9:30. Here's what we have going on with implant opportunities. Here's where we're offering you a free X-rays, a free CBCT scan." And we want you to come here because we have the best guy in town that does amazing.
You're selling, and you're preaching to the choir. This is Dentistry Uncensored. How long you been doing this? What does it cost? How does my homie sign up? If he goes to
sure.
How long you been doing this? How
so
long has it been live?
So it's been 2 years.
2 years.
2 years. We filed for patents.
And you have 100 clients on it?
Now 150.
Okay, so let me back up a little. You had 500 clients for your CPA.
CPA firm.
And then when you started your dental marketing, which you don't do anymore, when you started Dentist Profit Systems, you do the advertising for 100 dentists, and those all 100 were your CPA clients.
Well, most of them were.
Most of them were.
Most of them were.
And you don't take any new clients for that
no more clients because
you're focused on.
Oh, I'm focused on the front office conversions.
And so that you have 150.
150.
And how many of those 150 were your 500 CPA clients?
I would say about 50 to 60.
So now you've been growing this, and what does it cost?
So it costs for a solo practitioner, not a DSO, solo. It costs $579 a month. That includes unlimited phone calls, tracking, coaching, including our learning management system, which is ConstantCoach.me, which allows you to train your people like you talked about Subway.
And then you have 200 short videos.
We have almost 500 videos now.
500 videos?
500 videos in the learning management system that are short 2 to 3 minute videos that you can actually take a pre-test and a post-test. You can assign all your employees, okay, you need videos on this aspect of the stuff. So go ahead and train that. And if you score 90%, you get a certificate. So there is a whole system behind training you to how to answer these calls correctly. We're now building new videos regarding other aspects of dentistry, but right now we have maybe 200 to 300 regarding just front office conversions. How do you handle this? How do you handle an irate patient? How do you handle this thing? How do you handle somebody who doesn't have the right insurance? How do you handle Medicaid calls? We have a 5 series on implant opportunities. What does all on 4 mean? Right? How do you deal with an all on 4 patient if you have that kind of case? So that includes $579 a month per location. Right? That's per location price. That includes unlimited call monitoring, recording, coaching, and unlimited access to all the videos on the platform, which we're growing almost 20 to 30 videos per month. And usually the ROI we've seen dentists see an ROI within about 21 days. They've seen an entire years of ROI because they have gotten that patient back in the chair. They've been able to call a patient that was gone. Now that patient's back in the chair because now you called them back. Within 21 days, you should see an ROI for the entire year recovered for the entire year. We're a premium product because we give premium service. We're not just a software company that does, okay, I'm going to show you pretty graphs. We have human coaches that have, so 10% of the job is currently done by artificial intelligence. 90% is still done by dental professionals who are sitting in Tampa, not in China or anywhere else in the world, or India, where I'm from. They're sitting in Tampa. They've been through dentistry. They've been dental receptionists, dental office managers, all these guys that are making sure that the information that we're giving you is relevant. So you can actually call the patient back and get that patient back in the chair. That's the beauty of the system. It's still driven by human intelligence because you can't still replace them. Machines are great. Apparently we have that IBM Watson guy or girl watching our stuff, but Watson is not smart enough yet to figure out the mood and all that stuff. You need humans to do that.
Last Halloween, a pirate came to the door dressed as a pirate, and I said to the little kid, I said, "You look like a Tampa Bay Buccaneer." So I said, "Hey, pirate, where's your Buccaneers?" He said, "On my head." Get it? Buccaneers. You know what I said? Effing ears. Anyway, what from what you've learned from your dentist profit systems where you did the marketing,
Right.
and now what you've done on the call centers, what do you think the hours should be? Well, first of all, what hours do you answer? I mean, if you're on East Coast, you're 3 hours ahead of LA.
So
This
we
is
answer.
US play.
So we answer all East Coast and West Coast, English and Spanish both.
English, Spanish, and but what hours would you recommend they be answering your call? Because I know almost every dentist I know is open Monday through Thursday, 8 to 5.
Sure.
And so, how many calls are coming in?
So one of the things that our systems
outside those hours?
Our system will tell you that hey, by the way, you had 10 phone calls that went to voicemail on Fridays, or 5 phone calls that went to voicemail on Saturdays. So our system will give you all the metrics to see what's happening. And if you realize, it will also tell you by the hour. For example, guys, you're missing a lot of calls at lunchtime. So everybody's going to lunch at the same time, so you're missing all these calls. It gives you, our system, it goes so deep, it gives you information on when you're missing the calls, why you're missing the calls, why you're not booking the calls, who's leaving voicemails, at what time, are they leaving during business hours, non-business hours. So there is a report that, for example, our multi-location DSOs love a report, which is called a dashboard. With one click, you can see by location how many phone calls, how many voicemails were left during business hours yesterday.
Okay, but
Or today.
talk to me. So, is this a VoIP system, voice over internet protocol?
So it's
Is
not.
this
So
something
we
on a
don't replace
landline?
your phone system at all. We sit on top of it. So we don't
Okay.
actually take over your numbers. You maintain your numbers. We assign tracking numbers to all your marketing mediums. We assign a tracking number to your website, your Google Maps, your AdWords, your Facebook, to your postcard campaign. So one of the other benefits of that, because we were a marketing company, when we developed this, we made sure that one of the purposes of the system was to give dentists a clarity on a daily basis that, hey, today I got 2 patients from this website. Oh, I got 1 patient from the Yellow Pages today. Oh, I got 1 patient from this little flyer I sent out. So on a daily basis, you know what marketing is working and what's not working.
You can tell when a dentist isn't sophisticated out of it just from what you just said. You go to their website, same number on their Facebook, same number on their Twitter, same number, I mean, on their business cards, same Yellow Page. It's like, and what's amazing is some of them, one of them is my friend in the Valley who's on the back of the phone book, lawyer, billboards, everything, because he's in love with his 1-800 number.
Right.
I'm like, dude, I'm 54 and you're older than me. You're just showing everybody you're a 60-year-old crazy man, because the 1-800 number ain't how they're coming in. They're coming in on Google and Facebook, and they're searching, personal injury attorney.
Nobody remembers, I mean, except for my family's
He
numbers.
doesn't know where any of his marketing is working.
Absolutely.
Because he just keeps pitching this 1-800 number.
And that's one of the reasons why people wonder why they're not getting new patients is they're spending money in the wrong place. They're not spending enough money. One of the big lessons I learned from the marketing company was people did a lot of Google advertising through Google AdWords. And in some markets, I'm going to spend $500 to get an implant call. And it costs $25 a click. So, and if you do $500 a month, $25 a click, which means in the morning at 8 o'clock, somebody clicks on your ad doesn't show up for the whole day, right? So it's not enough.
What do you mean?
So if you have a
$500 budget.
Yeah, so let's say you have a $500 budget and let's say you're open 25 days, right? And so
That's $500 budget per month.
Per month for Google AdWords to attract implant patients. Right?
Okay.
And let's say you're open 25 days of the month, and so $50, so $20 a day is your budget. Now you're in Miami or Fort Lauderdale or Tampa, where an implant click costs $25 a click. Your ad doesn't even show up. So here you are, over a period of 2 days, you'll use the budget, only 1 person has clicked on your ad, you wonder why the $500 is a waste. You need at least a $2,000 budget in that market. And if you're in Hiram, Georgia, maybe $500 is enough. And a lot of these guys, because they have these preconceived notions from their CPAs or whoever it is, that X percentage of your X percentage should be going to marketing and advertising, and you're stuck in that little percentage. And you're brand new practice, you're trying to grow it, you're trying to get new patients, you have to understand how much you need to spend. And sometimes it's 7 to 8%.
You know what the highest, most expensive Google click ad is?
I think it's $25 a click in Miami.
But you know what the most expensive click is?
Personal injury attorneys?
In where? Manhattan.
Manhattan.
Personal injury in Manhattan, and they're paying $3,500 a click for that.
Yeah, absolutely.
So when I get in a really bad mood and I've been drinking, I just Google New York person just to lose damn ass to get back at the lawyers. No, I'm just kidding.
So you have to be.
But let's follow that on. So let's say they go $500. Let's say they go 2,000,
Right.
and they get 10 clicks to their website. Well, okay, that's just land on the website.
That's
What's
right.
the conversion of on the website to calling the office?
So
What kind of
you
numbers?
have now. Google says you have 10 seconds to get them to call you, right? 10 seconds, because most of them are doing it on the mobile phones. So if within 10 seconds, if you don't have a social proof in terms of reviews right there, you don't have a video that kind of catches on, you don't have the right content that relates directly to the ad.
Social proof, that's reviews,
Right.
and
Videos,
they,
then content that...
half of them don't even have a still picture of themselves. And if
That's
they
correct.
do, it looks like a mugshot.
That's correct.
You know.
So, for
video.
example-
Well, social proof, video. What was the third?
And targeted content that directly relates to the ad. So there.
And pushing the button that automatically goes to a call.
That's correct. That's correct. And you obviously push to call, right?
And what's the other one where the website adjusts to the site?
Well, that's basic now. That's just the.
What's that called?
It's called responsive design.
Responsive design. Okay, I know these. I know these guys. What percent of them do not have a responsive website design? So when you open their ad on an iPhone,
It looks.
but what
crap.
percent?
I would say more than 60%.
Yeah. So you said, well, that's standard response. Shit, that's standard response. 2 out of 3 homies don't even have that.
That's right.
And 99% don't even have a video.
That's correct.
And so you're saying social proof reviews.
Social proof reviews,
Then a video,
and then
targeted content.
content is really important to understand, because what a 65-year-old diabetic man with an A1C level of 7.5 is looking to see whether dental implant is the right treatment for him. He's typing a long tail keyword into Google saying that high A1C level, is dental implant appropriate for me? And if you don't have a targeted content directly that talks about A1C levels and the impact of and what you need to do, then you can't convert them. If you have a content that talks about, hey, we deal with a lot of diabetics, we have to make sure that your A1C level comes below a certain point for us to place the implant, but implants are wonderful, they last forever, and all that stuff, right?
Well, I'm really lucky. I'm right across the street from a very successful veterinary practice, and we just refer them across the street to people.
Refer them across the
Yeah, you're at the end of the road.
So
buddy.
targeted content is so important, and it has to be dynamic. Dynamic targeted content that talks directly. Because if I'm interested I'm a diabetic, I'm interested in dental implants, I need to find something a dentist that talks about that. Then I convert. Then I call.
Now, would that search land on a landing page within your website, or
Correct.
still just go to your front page?
No, that would not go to the home page. That will go to a specific landing page that directly talks about what your issues are. The number one thing I should say, that your website has to look nice. That's the period, right? Because it's all the perception that matters. Nobody really understands what dentistry you're doing in their tooth. They understand the experience. They understand how you make them feel.
But, well, what do you think? Let me ask you this more specific. There are some companies that put out hundreds of websites, but some people call them canned.
Right.
And then there's custom.
Right.
Do you think some of these big companies that have 1,000 canned websites for dentists is just as good as an individual custom?
Well, ideally it should be custom, and the content should be custom. That's what Google says. They punish duplicate content, right? But if you're going out there and you want to spend $100 a month on a website, what are you going to get? They serve all types of clients who want a website but don't have the budget. If you only have a $100 budget, and if you want a website going up and running tomorrow, and all you can spend is $100 a month, that's what you get. But if you really want to make a difference, you have to spend money on creating good custom content, creating videos, creating targeted ads, and advertising on Facebook and Google to get them in the door.
What do you think the average conversion is from? From everything I've read, the number one search is dentist near me. So, dentist near me. That's what I'm hearing. And so they land on a website. What do you think the average dentist on a Google search, how many people have to land on that page before they bounce off and go to the next Google search? What do you think the conversion is?
I would say it depends on the quality of your site. But
Yeah,
on,
but I mean
on,
just
on,
the average,
on an average,
for the United States of America.
On an average, I'd be happy with a couple of percent.
But
I would be happy between 2 and 5%. I'd be happy if they called.
So you're saying 100 people have to land before between 2 and 5 to convert?
Yeah.
But you think that's what the scorecard is?
No, it's much lower than that. Actually,
Well, what do you think the scorecard is?
I think
on
it's
average?
1 to 2%.
But do you have any data?
I have data on my clients. I don't have data on. I mean, there's no.
Your data on your clients when you took them on as clients.
I have data on when I took them on as clients.
And you have 100 clients on Dentist Profit Systems.
Right.
Were those mostly in Tampa?
They're in Florida. They're in Florida.
Okay, so you had a sample size of 100 dentists from Florida, and when you took them on as clients, what was the average conversion rate?
I would say 0.5 to 1%.
Damn, it's that bad. Wow.
It's really bad because
so 100. So when someone searched dentist in Tampa, that means they would go to 100 websites
so what
before they would
no.
call someone.
No. So conversion rate, I mean, did they actually get the call? Not whether they landed on the website, because that's meaningless. At the end of the day, if you don't receive the phone call, it's pointless, and people can be visiting websites all day long. A lot of these sites, and again, it depends, right? On an average, it depends. Now, once we got them on the first page of Google or the Google Maps, their reviews went up, then these rates start climbing and climbing and climbing. But not everybody can be on the first page of Google because there's only so much real estate there, right?
Well, it depends. When people say I'm putting you on the first page of Google, I mean, depends on what the search is.
And then there's no way.
I mean, is that you said dentist near me? I mean, is it you said Awatuki dentist? I mean, there's first page of Google. I mean, you still didn't know what the search is.
But back to the sites, I think some of the big website companies are serving a need that dentists have because they don't have the appetite to spend money on custom websites, custom content, custom videos, all of that stuff. So they need something.
So basically then, at the end of the day, you want them to go to Patient Prism.
PatientPrism.com.
And then you want them, is it a contract when it's $579 a month?
It's a 1-year contract.
So they have to sign up for $579, so a 1-year contract would be how much?
Well, how much is that?
$579 times 12.
That's right.
Well, I knew that. My gosh, $579 times 12. So you're looking at a $69.48, so $7,000.
About $7,000 a year.
So 6,948. So $7,000. And what do you think that return on investment will be for a calendar year? If one of my homies gave you $7,000, what do you think that would turn into in their dental office?
Read this wonderful book by Fred Joel yesterday called Becoming Remarkable. Wonderful guy, I like him a lot. Futurodontics, 100 dentist. His quote was in chapter 12 of the book was, on an average, dentists are losing between $100,000 to $150,000 a year because of poor front office conversion skills.
Oh, he said $100,000 to $150,000?
Correct.
Oh, it'd have to be much bigger. I love Fred too.
And
everybody on Amazon who bought Fred's book, my favorite Fred book, Becoming Remarkable is great. But what was the one before that?
Everything is Marketing.
Everything is Marketing. Everything is Marketing is one of the only dental books I think I've read twice. And people who bought his book bought my book, Uncomplicated. But anyway,
so I think 100 to 100. I mean, see, if you're a 6 operatory practice, right? 6 to 8 operatory practice. I think you don't want to overpromise and say, oh my God, hundreds of thousands of dollars. But I think you're missing out about, in my opinion, $50,000 to $100,000. Thank you, sir. I will get this read within the next couple of days. But $100,000 to $150,000 a year. I would say $200,000 if you're a decent sized practice a year of losing this out. And the thing is, when you spend money with us, you're going to know this because we send you a daily dashboard, right? That comes in your email. Not that you have to, it's not like you have to go to a software, download reports, none of that stuff. Every day on your phone, you get a report saying that how much money did you win and how much money did you lose and why did you lose it, and here's how you can fix it, right? So there is no guessing here of how much money you're making as a direct result of this, right? It's right there in your face. So that's what I felt was important in my years of accounting practice. It was important for me to be accountable to my clients. And if I was not accountable, if they didn't feel that this was worth at least 20 times what they're spending on, I don't want to be in this business. I was kind of going through a 35-year-old midlife crisis when when I started these companies, when I said, I need to do something more that makes a bigger impact on my clients. And as an accountant and a CPA, I was doing a wonderful job. I was learning the ropes. I sat in dental offices, learned how to read X-rays and do all that kind of stuff because I wanted to learn the business. This patient Prism was an accidental experiment. We said, can we solve this problem once and for all, front office conversions? Can we solve it in the shortest amount of time, and can we actually fix it right there and then without having to and it helps with the staff training helps a lot, because the millennials today that are out there are wanting that kind of feedback. Millennials are not all about money. They're about where their purpose and meaning in their job, and are they feeling that they're going somewhere. And if they feel that, I think Constant Coach with Patient Prism allows them to be trained. And then when they get those certificates, gold certificates and silver certificates, they feel that, man, I've done a good job for this practice. And I'm a better version. It's not all about money all the time. Yes, you have to pay them well, but you have to also give them the satisfaction that they're doing a good job and pat on the back. And that's what we're completing the loop with that.
I like a lot of things on your website. You say, chase problems and not money. Solve a problem and you've achieved a lot more than money. Measure the right things. What you can't measure, you can't improve. Fail fast, fail often, and succeed. People first, profit second. I can't believe we already went over an hour. But final question. This is, we just had 6,000 dental students graduate. A lot of them are questioning whether or not they made a good decision becoming a dentist. A lot of them want to ask me, they say, do you think the golden days were 30 years ago when you graduated? So my final question to you is, what advice would you give the young dentist?
I would say the golden days are ahead of you. I think this is the most exciting time to be a dentist. You just have to, what you have to do is when you come out of dental school and you're trying to make these decisions, try to assemble a good team of people that will actually give you good advice without a conflict of interest with them, right? So talk to people, look at mentors like Howard and people, seek mentors that will actually tell you how things actually are. And then decide whether you want to go in a corporate route and work there when you start a practice. Even if you have $500,000 of debt and you want to start your brand new practice, you can still make it. And you can still pay that debt off in 7 to 8 years if you have the focus. But it's very easy to lose focus in dentistry. It's very easy to focus because we are in a product-oriented world. We get influenced by beautiful, shiny, bright objects, and we kind of gravitate towards that. But we don't realize that, oh my God, there's a whole world out there. Yesterday I was talking to a periodontist, $450,000 in debt, and says, Amol, I'm scared to start a brand new practice. What should I do? Should I just work for somebody? I'm like, if you want to start a practice, you should start a practice. And don't worry about the debt. Don't worry about the interest rate. Worry about can you assemble a good team? Can you do whatever it takes? Can you be the best periodontist in town? And when you worry about all those things, don't worry about money. Don't worry about chasing money. Just worry about making a difference in the patients' lives and doing good for the community and being that champion for your patients and building the right team for your staff and building a great staff. And when you deliver that trust to your community, you will build that trust in the community. You will succeed no matter what. There's nothing that can prevent you from amazing success. You can build $1 million practice in 2.5 years, guaranteed, if you have the right mindset. But if you don't...
So here's what I'll do. I'll bet you my Lexus in the driveway. Here's what I'll do. He'll be $450,000 in debt, which the only way you could pay that off in 10 years is to go buy $1 million pediatric dental practice with amazing patient cash flow and pay off the practice and your student loans in 10 years. He won't do that. You know what he'll do? He'll go get a job at Aspen, and then after a year or two, he'll buy an $85,000 BMW, and then he'll go buy a $600,000 house in the suburb.
Yes.
And then when he's 65 years old, he'll still be paying interest on his mortgage, his student loans, and he'll probably buy a new car. And he'll never get from the paying interest on other people's money to debt-free and earning interest on his own savings, because he used other people's money to get to $500,000 in debt and then stopped and became an employee, and he'll use other people's money the rest of his life. And the only way you can fix that, if you use other people's money, you got to use it to buy something that pays it back.
That's right.
And that's a business.
And it's amazing, as an accountant, we talk about assets and liabilities, right? A house people think is an asset. Robert Kiyosaki, says it perfectly.
He lives up the street here.
Oh, he does?
Yeah,
he lives
in Paradise Valley.
And in Rich Dad Poor Dad, is like people think buying a house is an asset. But asset, by definition of accounting, means something that brings money to you. Right? When you buy it, it brings you money. House doesn't bring you money. A rental property is an asset because you rent it out, you can pay the stuff, you can make a profit on that. A house just sucks the money out of you. You got to pay the pool guys, landscape guys, all these guys. But you're absolutely right. That's the mentality. People don't understand.
Final question.
Final question.
Because you talk about, you also run a hedge fund. You mentioned Kiyosaki. Grant Cardone is a big real estate expert, and he was ripping Kiyosaki a new one yesterday, because Kiyosaki thinks we're due for another major economic correction. The last one was 2008, a decade ago. You run a hedge fund.
Right.
I know nobody can predict the future. Nobody predicted the Berlin Wall fall, the Tiananmen Square, 9/11, the Arab uprising. Nobody predicts anything. You can't predict anything. But what do you think of Kiyosaki thinking the sky is falling? Grant Cardone saying it's not, and you have a hedge fund. Where do you weigh in on the general health of the economy?
So our hedge fund was started by me and two of my professors of finance, and we came up with the concept that we're not going to be able to predict the market. We're not going to be able to predict whether it's going to go up or down. We're not going to be able to predict stocks. We're not going to be able to predict sectors. We just cannot predict anything. All we care about is, as long as there is chaos in the marketplace, we'll make money. Whether it goes
volatility.
Up and volatility. So we have a volatility-based fund that takes advantage of volatility when it happens. Right? When the Brexit happened, we made money. When Trump spoke about North Korea, we made money. And so my advice to people who are wanting to put money in investment, and I have very strong opinions on investment advisors and the industry, which has become a retail industry, which most of them are selling you a product that may or may not fit your goals, is that having your money 100% invested and hoping for it all to go up is absolute stupidity. The number one killer of wealth is volatility, right? If you have $100,000 and if you invest in the S&P 500 index fund for 20 years at 10%, with 10% volatility, it would be $4 million. If it's 5% volatility, it would be $6 million. So what kills you is every time $100 goes to $90, you lost 10%, but then now you have to gain 13% just back to 100. So that ups and downs is what kills your wealth. So you have to really make sure that your financial advisor is equipped to not only look at the market when it's going up, but most financial advisors don't. That's why that's why the rich get richer, is the hedge funds have figured out a way. The Soroses of the world and Ackmans of the world, they don't lose money. They don't lose money in markets when markets are going down. So you have to be able to figure out a way to somehow hedge your portfolio against downfalls. Now, you can't do this for everyone. You can't do this you have a $4,000 IRA, you can't have hedging strategies, but you should just be in the market and not pay financial advisory fees. Fees and volatility will kill your wealth over a period of time, and you have to be very careful about that.
He says fees and volatility, I say divorce court. So we're just going to have to agree to disagree.
Yes, sir. Thank you. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you so much for coming on the show.